Man, we are just pissing everybody off today. I kinda like it. But you know what? This, of course, has to come with some rebuttal. I can't just go out there and make videos saying that this is going to be the thing or agreeing with the titles. No, we have to go out there and defend our guys, right? That's what sports fans do. So, what I wanted to do was head over to an article published on thehockeywriters.com, because what Mike Fink did about a week ago on July 10th was publish an article about the 5 most overrated NHL GMs. Okay, that's big. And I get it, you know, it's an opinion piece. It's not really going out there and providing the hard-fought analysis with stats and numbers and trades and everything in between. No, it's not that. It's just a guy going out there giving his opinion. But, hey, it's the off-season. What else can we do except talk about opinions, right? Unless, of course, there was a big signing or a trade that happened while I was asleep, and this video is being uploaded in lieu of that whilst I am trying to figure out how to battle this Vancouver Heat. But either way, let's go out there and read what one of these analyses says on this Hockey Writers article. You already know from the title, you know from the thumbnail, one of the guys we are talking about today. I'll leave a link in the description if you want to read yourself about the other GMs included on this list. But the number 2 most overrated GM in the NHL, from Mike Fink's perspective, is none other than Stevie Y himself, Steve Yzerman. Trust the Yzer plan, is what fans keep saying. Steve Yzerman was hired in the 2019 offseason in hopes of cleaning up the mess made by the former Detroit Red Wings GM and turning the team into a dynasty. After all, he had turned the Tampa Bay Lightning into a model franchise in his previous stop, so why wouldn't he be able to do that with the Red Wings? Heading into Yzerman's 5th season as the Red Wings GM, they have yet to make the playoffs. They were close last season, but stumbled in the final month and came up short. What makes last season all the more upsetting is that the expectations, especially after acquiring Alex DeBrincat, were to make the playoffs and compete with the best in the Atlantic Division. His tenure hasn't been a mess. On the contrary, Yzerman has made some great moves and built up the farm system in a short time to give the Red Wings hope. Yet goaltending seems to be his Achilles heel. He drafted Andrei Vasilevsky in the first round in 2012, but since then he has stumbled on every major move involving a goaltender. The Red Wings have started 11 goaltenders since the 2019-20 season, and the Alex Nedeljkovic trade in particular was a flop, as it looked like they found their starter for the future only to see him off the roster in 2 seasons. There's a lot of pressure on the Wings to make the playoffs, and there's still a lot of confidence in Yzerman. However, at some point the public will turn against him. When he was hired, it was easy to blame the roster and the previous regime for the issues. When the Red Wings were in the middle of a rebuild, it was easy to blame the coaching staff. Now, all the pressure shifts to the front office, and if the team still underachieves, that's where the heat will be directed. Okay, so I'm making this video as a response to all the stuff that we had just read, all the opinions shared by Mike Fink, and what he has to say about Steve Yzerman and why he could be an overrated GM in the NHL. While it is literally true that the Red Wings have not made the playoffs the entire time Steve Yzerman was here, and that the expectations were that he would fix all the mistakes made by Ken Holland, what is not true is that the expectations for the Wings were as sky-high as this article might imply. I don't know about you, but heading into last season, there weren't too many Red Wings fans saying, oh yeah, this team is a guaranteed playoff contender. They're gonna be in the wild card, and they're gonna make it, and they're gonna find a way to get to 6 games. Maybe they win, maybe they lose, but just making it and getting that far, yeah, that's gonna be the highlight. They're gonna make the playoffs, and they're gonna maybe do something with it. Who really knows? I don't know, based off of my comment section and what online social media discourse seems to have alluded to, if any Red Wings fan was really saying, yeah, they're a lock. And if they don't make the playoffs, it's disappointing. Now, sure, there were parts of last season that were disappointing, but at the same time, it wasn't necessarily Steve Yzerman's fault that Alex DeBrincat didn't really live up to expectations. All the moves that the Red Wings did were pretty alright, and with the exception of the Jake Wallman trade, I can't really find too many faults with them. Getting Patrick Kane? Huge. Re-signing Patrick Kane? Huge. Bringing in Tyler Mott, bringing in Tarasenko? Huge. Re-signing Christian Fischer? Huge. Even when you talk about the goaltending like this article brought up, Cam Talbot is supposed to be the guy now, and he has been a better goaltender at various points throughout his career, especially recently, than any of the guys the Red Wings have had over the past few years. Sorry, no disrespect to the Lion King, or to the Ville Husso show, or to Ned when he was in Detroit, but Cam Talbot is very good. He's very old, yes, but he is still good, and I think there's going to be a lot of people surprised as to how good Talbot is going to be as a member of Detroit. And if you want to talk about the team quote-unquote stumbling and falling short at the end of the season to miss out on the playoffs, that's literally not what happened, man. They'd stumbled and slipped their way into an unfavorable position by the time the last month of the season started, yes, but they were winning games at the end of the season, they were forcing themselves to get extra points, and they even won that shootout when they had the opportunity to actually make the playoffs. They missed the playoffs more so by 1 minute than they did 1 point. Had John Tortorella and the Philadelphia Flyers not pulled the goalie against the Capitals, then things could have been different. That's not in Steve Yzerman's control. That's not the team blowing away and stumbling across the finish line. No, that's just them kind of screwing themselves earlier on into the year and making a really entertaining push at the end of the season to make things extraordinarily interesting. I think a lot of Red Wings fans were satisfied with the way the Wings played at the end of the year. Maybe not with the multiple goals let up, but hey, I mean, Lucas Raymond still found himself a way to be clutch and score some even bigger goals as well. Either way, though, the Wings, I think it's kind of misleading to say that they came up short and they failed themselves by missing out on the playoffs. No, they fought tooth and nail to get back in there, and with the same personnel coming back, with more time in the offseason to train, and with Tarasenko added too, there could be more potential for this Wings team to get to even higher highs in 24-25. Is it true that there probably is some pressure on Steve Yzerman? Yeah, I wouldn't say that it's completely null and void, but I think there's a lot more optimism that should be going around here in comparison to what is implied by this article written out about how Steve Yzerman is an overrated GM. It's fair to say that Yzerman has his flaws. I mean, the Jake Wallman trade was a really big, okay, what the hell kind of move, and you can say that there is room for doubt when you talk about the prospects. Okay, the Red Wings drafted the same guy 3 years in a row pretty much, Casper Danielson, and then you had Michael Brandsted-Newgard. I mean, a lot of these players are very similar. So what exactly is the dealio there with Steve Yzerman ignoring higher ceiling capable offensive guys and just going for that stable middle six two-way force instead? It's okay to have that kind of a player, it's just drafting him 3 times in a row, that's kind of questionable. There are some other prospects, though, that I think have panned out very well and that look to be extremely valuable pieces into the next few years, like ASP at 17th overall in 2023. But either way, I don't know if there's really too much to criticize Yzerman for that is completely within his control. I mean, the team that was built on paper is a lot better than what Yzerman inherited when he was initially hired by the team. That squad, that Ken Holland-built squad, was so bad that Yzerman kind of had to restart everything from scratch. And yeah, sure, there were some names that came back, particularly one, Dylan Larkin, but heading into 2024-2025, I do question where your sentiments lie, Red Wings fans, as to where the Steve Yzerman-Yzer plan conversation can go from here. Is it still as much of a belief as it was, let's say, in 2019, in 2020, 2022? How have these multiple years changed your point of view on the Yzer plan? Is it still something worth believing in, and how confident are you in it that it's going to work out? Or are you on the more pessimistic side, like this article's writer over here, in talking about how the Yzer plan could be seen as overrated? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below if you're a fan of the Wings, or if you're not a fan of the Wings as well. I mean, it'd be nice to see some non-Detroit faithful going out there and speaking about their thoughts on Steve Yzerman. But either way, what are your thoughts on the Yzer plan? Do you think it's overrated? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.